Welcome into the latest edition of the Under the Headset podcast, Utah football. We're talking about it with the newest members of the staff this year. This week's edition, well, we're going to talk to the newest member of the offensive staff, coaching tight ends. Luke Wells joining us. Luke Wells, welcome.
Well, hey, thanks for having me.
It's great to have you here. Let's start first with this. How'd you get to Utah?
Man, that's a heck of a question. Thankful to be here. This place has been awesome. I've spent some time in the state coaching. Knew Coach Scally a little bit when I was at Utah State. So I was at Utah State from 13 to 18. Been in this league at 2 or 3 different places. And so I've kind of known these guys, but I didn't know him great. Always respected, his body of work as a coordinator, as a recruiter. He's a really good recruiter. And then I've also had the relationship with Kevin McGivern. He and I worked together at Utah State. A year ago I was at Kansas State, and Coach Kleiman retired there at the end of the year, and was just trying to kind of figure out my next move and what I wanted to do. And, Kevin got this job and gave me a call and Coach Scally, a few hours later, and was really excited for this opportunity. I have known for a long time, how good a job this is here. I was at Utah State, and you're not supposed to say stuff like that when you're at another school in state. But, man, the whole time I was at Utah State, I was like, man, those guys at Utah, that's kind of a cool place. One of those things that you really didn't talk about, but you kind of knew that. And so I've always admired, what they've been able to do here. They've won games for a long time here at Utah. They've done it with, with tough mindset. The culture's been great. And I think the other thing, too, that is just the high school football is so good here. And so, being able to get compete to get the best players in this state every year is a really big deal. And so I've always had a lot of respect for this place. And so it's pretty easy to want to be here, to want to be part of this. And I'm very, very fortunate to have this opportunity to be here.
Life and work and things are about relationships.
That's right.
You've got to do a good job, but to get jobs you want to get a lot of times, and sometimes you don't know you want those jobs. You got to know people.
Yeah.
What's your relationship like with Kevin McGivern?
Kevin and I go back. So Kevin and I didn't know each other at all when we got to Utah State. Kevin got the job as the offensive coordinator. I was helping him out with the tight ends. And, you find out a lot about a person, when you get to work with them and when you get to go through some challenging times. And so when we're at Utah State, I think our first year, we got to our third quarterback pretty quick, and we're able to win some games. And then the second year there, we got to our fourth quarterback. And so,
by the way, 2 phrases as an offensive coach you never want to say in back-to-back years. We got to our third, and we got to our fourth quarterback.
Absolutely. And so I've got a lot of respect for Kevin. I mean, here I am. I'm watching Kevin coach his fourth guy, a guy in the room that we'd never planned on taking a snap all year. He was normally our guy running the scout team. And so, man, that guy can coach, and I've seen it. And then I've also, kind of been in the foxholes with him, with the challenges and, hey, how do we make this offense? How do we collaborate and try to help this fit a kid who's brand new to the program and trying to learn what we're doing. And so I've seen Kevin kind of in those challenging times as a coach. And we've been friends ever since, and we trust each other, and really that was a very comfortable deal for me to come over here and know what I'm getting in the offensive staff room every day, and I respect what he's about, and he's fun to work with.
You mentioned obviously being at Utah State, just up the road in Logan. Not conference members, you'd play occasionally in a non-conference or whatever that might happen to be, but you do a little bit of recruiting and things. But at Kansas State, You're there with Coach Kleiman for a
Yeah.
couple of years. Very good program. In fact, I think there's a lot of similarities in the DNA of what Bill Snyder built there and then passed it along. The physicality, the toughness, sometimes being a little overlooked. Utah's felt that over the years too. But what was the conversation about this place and this program when you were at Kansas State or some of the other stops around the Big 12 about
absolutely.
what Utah had done?
Yeah, when you think of Utah football, the first thing I think you probably think of on the other side is you think of the physicality of this place, and you know that up front that game has, if you're going to beat Utah, you've got to try to win up front, and it's a challenge because Utah's always had a really good offensive and defensive line, always had a really, really solid front seven. And so you know it's going to be a dogfight, and you know that you're going to go into this deal and they're going to bring every bit of physicality that they can possibly bring at you. You know, the word soft has never been associated with Utah football, ever.
Right.
You know, and in fact, it's the exact opposite. You know that you're going to be sore after the game. Your guys are going to be beat up. It's going to be a fist fight. And because you respect the toughness of this program. And
it's funny you say that. Pac-12 schools used to talk about the Utah effect. It was one thing to play them, but you worried about the next week, how
100%.
beat up your team would be. David Shaw used to talk about that at Stanford. Some of the other schools would be like, yeah, we've got to play them, and that's going to be a fist fight. But I worry about the next week, what kind of shape we're going to be in when we have to play our next opponent.
Absolutely. And, you know, and last year at K-State, we played Utah, I believe it was week 11.
It was second to last week.
It was
of the
week
year.
11, and I'm telling you, we barely had anything left for the Colorado game the next week. You know, we had Colorado coming in at home, and looking back on that, we were a lot thinner going into that game. And our guys were pretty beat up because it was a physical game.
And you guys had come into the game pretty beat up. And you'd been missing some players. It had
we
been a tough
been.
season for you guys.
We had been. But, you know, and then the other thing I'll say about Utah, and it probably doesn't get said enough, is the game day environment is second to none in this league. You know, and I've been at Texas Tech. I've coached at Iowa State. You know, I've been at K-State, and I've been to every place in this league. And I'm telling you, if you asked anybody at K-State what's the best game day atmosphere in this league, they'll say Utah. I mean, that place was rocking, and I've never won here on the other side. And then a couple of times when I was at Utah State, and being on the other side, you know that when you come into Rice Eccles, it's not only you're not only fighting the University of Utah football team, but I mean there's 50,000 fans plus that are going to be, you know, an impact on the game as well.
Well, when you competed over the years against Utah, Kyle Whittingham was the head coach. Morgan Scalley was defensive coordinator or on staff. Now, Morgan Scalley is the head coach. He's your boss. You're working for him. And I'm sure, as you said, you had this opinion of Morgan and this view of him from a distance when you were competing against him or out on the recruiting trail. Well, now for the last 6 months, Luke, you've been working with him day in and day out. What's the beginning of the Scalley era and being on staff been like?
It's been amazing. It's been awesome. You know, and like you said, I knew Morgan from a professional standpoint. Say hi to him on the road and recruiting. Didn't really know what he was about. Knew his body of work was really, really good. And knew that his guys were going to play well. But it's been cool to be on this end of it. I've been super impressed just with his leadership style, leading the staff, leading the team, the culture that he is not only sustaining here at the University of Utah, but also building upon, you know, and putting his own twist on it. The way the relationship he has with the players is one of the first things I've noticed with him, just how impressive that is. Our players know that he's in the fight with them. And I've enjoyed just the way he's been with the staff. I mean, he's an incredible leader. He really wants to, you know, kind of encourages, you know, different guys to bring ideas. He wants to know, you know, he wants to get the information out of you and see what the best idea is. How can we be the best at every single thing we're doing? as far as every facet of this program. And he's got everybody pulling the rope same direction pretty fast. And what's pretty cool and a tribute to him and his leadership is, man, you got a bunch of guys that have never worked together. And I feel like I've been working with these guys for a long time now. You know, I feel like I know them all, even the guys on the other side of the ball. Man, we enjoy being around each other. It's a fun environment at work. We enjoy that. And we go out and attack it every day and have a good time doing it. So it's been fun.
That's great. You know, we talk so much in this day and age about having to pull rosters together pretty quickly because of the roster turnover everybody gets now and the transfer portal era we're in. But you guys are in a unique situation with a lot of new faces coming together. Maybe you guys knew each other, but you've never worked together. So it's been cool to hear all the synergy that's on the staff right now.
Yeah, that has been that's been a lot of fun. And you know, Kevin was literally the only guy that I had worked with. And so he's done a good job, you know, leading that room, and of course Morgan with the whole staff. And I think at the end of the day, I think what Morgan's done is he's brought in a bunch of guys that, number one, couldn't be more fired up to be coaching at the University of Utah. I mean, it's a blessing to do what we do, and it's a blessing to do it here. I think everyone on the staff has that attitude.
Yep.
I don't see a lot of egos on this staff. You know, no guys with hidden agendas or anything like that. It's just a bunch of guys that you know, enjoy working together and want to do everything we can to help Utah win.
You coach a position that it's been pretty prominent at Utah for probably the last 6, 7, 8 years. A lot of good names have come through here. Guys like Kincaid, Bentley, Keithy have been all conference level tight ends. Tell me about the room you've got this year. And, you know, I think a lot of people are excited to see what Kevin does with the tight ends compared to what guys like Beck and Ludwig and some of the other guys did. But tell me about your room.
Yeah, you know what? It's a group that really loves to compete. I think number one, they enjoy the game, and it's a group of you know, all different body types. You know, really, as you guys have seen, you know, you got the Rhino group, you know, guys that came here to play D-line, and they've done a nice job with the role that we've had, and you know, and then you got some other guys, you know, that started off playing linebacker and moved over. You know, you got Hunter and Kanai and, you know, and guys like that. And then we've added some guys, you know, from the portal, you know, with Noah Benny, with Will Money. And so yeah, we're building this room, and it's going to be a big part of what we do. And every year we need to go out and try to find the best we can, and also develop the kids that are in the room. So I'm excited about it. It's a good group of kids.
Yeah, I think fans are genuinely excited to see how all these pieces come together this fall, because when you look at it on paper, there seems to be a lot of really interesting and fun offensive pieces that you guys have to work with.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think, you know, and that's a part of what a lot of your first spring is just kind of figuring out, you know, who you're going to be personnel wise, and how extravagant can you get with these personnel groupings, right? Like, I mean, you look at us and we've got good receivers, we've got good backs, and then, okay, you know, how much do you use 2 backs or 3 backs? And then how much do you have a second or a third tight end you can use? You know, how do you bring the Rhinos and the tight ends in it together? I mean, there's a lot of moving parts. And so, you know, that's the fun part. And we did a lot of it. We were a lot of variations, I would say, this spring with all those personnel groupings, and put a lot of stuff on video to kind of go back and look at. And then now you got 3 weeks of fall camp to try to figure out, okay, who are our main guys and how this is going to work, and how are we going to get them the football, and kind of go from there. And that part's fun, just trying to, you know, fit the pieces of the puzzle together, so to speak.
Last thing, I've been asking everybody this because I want to know everybody's individual answer. Tell me something that you're excited about this fall, really excited about, when the pads get on and the games begin against Idaho on September the 3rd. What has you most excited?
Gosh, that's a heck of a question.
take it any way you want.
I'm excited about working here. And I can't wait to see our guys play. Our guys work their tails off here, and our guys are physical. I like the fact that we more have to pull the guys back a little bit when they're going against each other. I can't wait to see us just play at a different opponent. I'm excited about that. I can't wait. And part of this is my history with the University of Utah and being 0 every time I've played Utah, and it's been in Rice Eccles. But I can't wait to walk down that. I can't wait to do the walk out the tunnel, all right, and be on the right sideline for once, and be with that home crowd and experience a home game, wearing this logo on my chest. And so I'm extremely excited about that part.
Well, Luke, thanks for doing this, and looking forward to the season. Thanks.
Yeah, thank you.